Crawford fight. Not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just some. I think the comparison they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same.
Important. Even just a couple of days working with Jaron Boots Ennis is going to be for Canelo, just to see a bit of the tempo, a bit of that switching of stance, because let's be honest, there's not many guys that Canelo has fought that have fought out of both stances and done it as fluidly as Boots Ennis or as Bud Crawford will do in their.
Bien, bien hecho. Bonita finta otra vez ahí. No se la cambia.
The boxing scene was shocked when reports came out that Canelo Alvarez has been training with Jaron Boots Ennis before his fight with Terence Crawford. Many see this as a strong message from Canelo's team. Former champion Andre Durrell said the move shows Canelo wants to be at his very best in September, leaving no space for laziness. Ennis is known for speed, power, and variety, making him one of the closest matches to Crawford's style. Bringing Boots into camp shows Canelo not only respects Crawford's ability, but also takes the challenge with full seriousness.
Bien, bien, bien. Dándole la cintura. Bien, bien hecho. Bonita finta otra vez ahí. No se la cambia. Ahí. Suavecito y remate. Otra vez. Y remate. Suavecito y remate. Un pasito atrás y volterita. Anulado. ¿Cómo van aquí?
Boxing Orbit shook the sport by posting a photo of Canelo Alvarez sparring with Jaron Ennis. Their tweet read, Canelo Alvarez sparring with Jaron Ennis ahead of his fight with Terence Crawford on September 13, sparking heavy reactions from fans and experts worldwide. Greg Hackett said bringing Boots into Canelo's camp is one of the boldest moves before the Crawford fight. To him, the public reaction makes sense since no one expected it. At first, it may look surprising or even funny, but Hackett explained it's not random. Canelo is preparing for Crawford, a fighter built on hunger, skill, and drive. Sparring Boots is a smart way to copy the same energy Crawford brings. Hackett reminded everyone that Boots is not just another partner. He's a rising star with speed, explosiveness, and hunger. Training with him means Canelo is tested daily. For Hackett, what some call a gimmick is really a smart strategy. He believes Canelo's team is showing respect for Crawford.
Crawford was on the bigger and better things, baby. That bigger and better things being Canelo Alvarez, September 13th, 2025. Bigger legacy, bigger name, bigger payday, bigger status. So, too little, too late, Boots. But I am looking forward to how you advance in your career after this, because this camp is definitely going to level you up, man. You're going to get better because of it in every aspect. Toughness, skill set, smarts. You're going to get a lot from this camp, champ. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do because of it. You're already a bad man, dog. I want to see where you take it from here. But Crawford, it's over. I believe he walking away in the sunset, especially if he walk away with the victory, which I'm hoping for. But you, champ, you got to settle for something else. Get Canelo that work, man. He gonna need it. He gonna need it. According to Roy Jones, Canelo got to be on his A game. You got to be on yours too, man. We're looking forward to seeing what you do after this. It's raining on me right now, so I'm gonna cut this short, baby. But Boots, get somebody else, champ. Get somebody else. I'm out.
Jose Benavidez Sr. dismissed the buzz around Canelo's sparring picks, saying his camp won't get distracted by social media talk. For him, the only thing that matters is what happens when the bell rings. Benavidez Sr. stressed that fans often overrate sparring partners, forgetting they are only tools to get ready. Whether Canelo trained with Boots or another fighter, it doesn't change the fact that Crawford is a different beast. To him, the real answers don't come from sparring. They come under the lights on fight night. His view is a reminder that while headlines create noise, veteran camps stay grounded and focus on their own plan.
I don't know, because there's things I know about camp and how they want things to go. So is it going to be that way? Is y'all going to try to alter the camp, or is y'all going to let them go? Or, I mean, is y'all looking to still?
Give me the psychology behind both sides. What does Jaron Ennis get from this? What does Canelo Alvarez get from this?
I mean, Jaron Ennis get from it being in with the elite, a guy who's prepared for everything. One thing you can't say about Canelo is that he hasn't seen something. Canelo seen southpaws, he's seen tall guys, short guys, slick fighters, he's seen bulls, he's been up against everything. So you get a world of experience with a guy like Canelo. You get a guy who's in full confidence with a guy like Canelo. So with that type of boxing, I would see Canelo really not worried about so much of what Boots trying to do to him, but really just paying attention to him. But then it's the same, like, I don't know, I can see Boots kind of like, I think the mindset for Boots would be not only to prove I can hang, but to also be trying to see what would come with this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I don't think I would do that. I don't know. It's just me. I just think the only reason I say that because I think Boots could get that fight. I think Boots could end up in a fight with Canelo. And I'm saying that because, you know, the reason I say I wouldn't do it is because I wouldn't spar you and then here go a year later they fight. Nah,
I mean, for as much as it does for Canelo, it does for Boots though, right? If that were to be the case.
Yeah, but there's so many ways it could go. And what I'm saying is, if I was to be where Boots is right now, if one thing we can all agree on, everybody hate Boots right now. They mad at Boots, right?
Brian Norman gave a sharp view, saying that while Boots is an amazing fighter, his style does not truly match Terence Crawford's. He noted the only likeness may be their build and the type of power shots they throw. Outside of that, Norman said their approach is completely different. Crawford is a master at switching stances, laying traps, and creating plans in real time. Boots is more explosive and aggressive in how he fights. Norman warned that sparring Ennis will give Canelo a real test, but it won't fully prepare him for what it feels like to face Crawford. His opinion balances the hype, pointing out that while helpful, this training choice has its limits.
You know, whatever, we're not even like thinking about it anymore, and you were just like, you know, Canelo is slipping and stuff like that. Does it make you kind of rethink Canelo and that Crawford fight to be like, well, he's really taking it serious to bring in a guy like Jaron Ennis?
Well, like I said, you know, I don't really focus on that. You know, we stay in our lane, you know, and try to get better ourselves. And whatever they do, whatever they decide to bring in or whatever, you know, I'm pretty sure they have a plan. But I don't really focus on what other people do. We focus on what we do in order to get better ourselves. Because we do have a lot of things that we need to fix and get better at. So my respects to whatever they do or whatever they're doing, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a good thing, but we don't really focus on that, you know, what other people do. You know, like I said, we got to get better at our craft.
Oladipo gave a reality check on where Canelo stands now compared to his peak years. He said the rematch with Golovkin in 2018 was when Canelo looked his absolute best. That was 7 years ago. Since then, Canelo has stayed elite, but hasn't looked as sharp or unbeatable. This raises doubts about whether even smart choices like sparring Boots can cover the gap between his current form and Crawford's red-hot momentum. Oladipo's view puts pressure on Canelo's camp, hinting that they are pushing harder in sparring because they know today's version of Canelo needs more support.
I mean, I think it's good work. Crawford, I don't think Crawford fight, not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just I think the comparison that they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same. They don't do anything else the same, literally. So I never understood the comparison in that myself. But I think it's still a good look because all work is good work and you want the best work. You feel what I'm saying? So if Jaron Ennis is supposed to be the best work, even though he was a 47-pounder and not going up to 54, which is the same thing that Crawford was, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I do think that Boots getting a lot of unnecessary backlash about doing it, though. I don't agree with the backlash he's getting about, you know what I'm saying, going to spar, getting that paycheck, getting that experience. Because I think he needed it anyway. I always talk trash about him, always staying in Philly, hiding in Philly. He don't ever want to go outside to spar. He don't ever want to go outside to do nothing else. So in this case right here, I think it's well needed for his career. It's needed for the building of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out. You got to go in certain different types of territories and, you know, places and get that kind of work. So, I mean, I think Boo's getting a lot of unnecessary criticism. And if I'm defending him, you know it's real. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's getting a lot of unnecessary criticism, talking about sellout and all of that. That's some bullshit. Like,
Experts studying this move agree that Canelo gets major benefits by sparring with Jaron Ennis. They note that Boots brings speed, angles, and nonstop pressure that few fighters can copy in training. By facing those tools daily, Canelo better prepares to deal with Crawford's tricky style. While some analysts warn that Boots and Crawford use different tactics, the challenge of sparring someone as skilled as Ennis sharpens timing, reflexes, and mental strength. Analysts stress that this kind of work is what sets great fighters apart. They search for the toughest test before entering the real fight.
I don't think that Crawford is fighting the best Canelo anymore. Again, the Canelo I'm talking about, I mean, second Golovkin fight, I thought he was fucking incredible. That was, when was that? Because that feels like a long, long time ago. Second Golovkin fight was 2018. So I'm saying peak Canelo, although still very, very good people, peak Canelo for me was 6 years ago. It's a long time, or 5.5 years. That's a long time. In fact, exactly 15th of September. So it'll be to the day 5 years. Have I got them? What was I talking about? Sorry, almost 7 years ago. Jeez, that's a long time ago. Where some might say peak Crawford was Errol. So, shit, I didn't realize how long ago that was. And he's clearly not that same guy anymore. It clearly isn't. He's no longer fighting elite fighters. I mean, unless you're going to say William Skoll was elite. Edgar Berlanga, no. Munguia, no. Jamel, no. John Ryder, no. A third Golovkin fight, no. So he's no longer fighting the best, but he still is very good, and he's still a top 168 pounder. And I think this is why people are saying it is a 50-50 fight now, because we can see the deterioration in Canelo. Like, say what you want about William Skoll. Canelo looked poor in that fight as well. Everyone's like, oh, William Skoll ran. Well, Canelo didn't cut off the exits. Canelo wasn't great himself. Canelo's punch output was horrendous. So we can clearly see the deterioration. That said, he is the naturally bigger guy. I just mentioned the fact that Crawford's put on size, but the naturally bigger guy in this weight class is Canelo. That has to count for something. We know Canelo's been able to absorb punches from the naturally bigger guys. I mean, barely anyone's put a dent in this guy, right? That's how good his chin is. Maybe the best chin in boxing. It's frightening. But the legs have slowed down. The output has slowed down as well. And I always think about, with Canelo, desire and want and will. I always sort of say, where is that desire?
Johnny Ortiz gave a passionate take, saying the sparring choice was perfect from both sides. He argued that Boots is the closest thing to Terence Crawford that Canelo could find, making him an ideal partner. For Ortiz, the deal helps not only Canelo, but also Ennis, who gains big experience working with a veteran champion like Alvarez. Ortiz said this type of teamwork is rare and valuable, because both fighters take lessons they can use later. His comments add to the excitement, calling the decision smart, useful, and beneficial to both men.
That means that he did get work. That's what that means to me. That's what you need. I don't want Canelo in camp beating up nobody. I want people beating up on him. I want people putting in that work, giving him looks he ain't seen. So that's what's going to make him ready for Crawford. I don't want to see smiling Canelo. I don't want to see Canelo happy. That means he did good the first time they sparred. No, I want him frustrated and angry. That's how it's supposed to be. Bring somebody in camp, they give you that work. Even Mayweather talked about how Earl Spence gave him that work when he was trying to get him ready for a fight. Because by the end of the camp, Canelo will be the one smiling. I love it. I'm going to tell y'all why I love it. I'm going to tell y'all why I love this shit. I was wondering, I was like, I wonder who Canelo has in camp with him to prepare for Bud, because I know Shakur Stevenson's not going to help him.
Canelo's supporters point out that Boots and Crawford share many physical and technical traits, making Ennis the best sparring option. Both fighters are athletic, switch stances smoothly, and have real knockout power, forcing Canelo to adjust nonstop. Bringing Boots into camp proves Alvarez is leaving nothing unchecked and that his team is serious about this fight. Observers note that sparring Boots sends a message. Canelo is not underestimating Crawford at all. Instead, he is preparing for every possible scenario, showing both respect for Crawford's skills and his own drive to rise to the challenge.
Makes sense, and it's definitely a good experience for both. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, shout out to them, because now it shows that they serious with a real game plan, and Boots is, to me, everybody's a perfect opponent, I wouldn't say opponent, perfect sparring partner to have to replicate Crawford, because they both switch hitters and stuff like that, and you know they got dog in them and reflexes for sure. So it shows Canelo serious, and on Boots end, to be able to spar a Hall of Famer, top tier guy, is giving him great experience, and you could tell he really wants it.
Been seeing mixed reviews. You got a portion of the fans that are just shocked that this happened. You got a portion of the fans that's like, yay, Canelo now has the edge. Those will be Canelo fans, and you got Terence Crawford fans that I'm seeing calling him a traitor. You know, you already know the other word.
Yeah, it's a difference between a fans. There's Terence Crawford fans, which is cool. Then there's a Terence Crawford, I call them bud clowns, where all of a sudden they want to act like Dr. Umar and shit. They want to be fake woke. Like, woke for what? Like, it's a sport where Boots is getting an opportunity to spar a Hall of Famer. Who cares? And in reality, what the fuck loyalty does Boots owe to Crawford when it comes to the sport of boxing? I mean, Crawford didn't do shit even back while Boots was trying to get his opportunity when it was Spence and Crawford. Every time Boots' name got mentioned, you heard the bud clowns be like, oh yeah, he don't deserve it. Oh, who did he fight? Oh, who this and that, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit. It's like different shit that you need to be woke up outside of boxing. Boxing is a sport. There's shit that we need to really come together. I didn't see y'all come together like 5 years. The bud clowns, because it's real fans, the bud clowns is bashing PBC.
Not every analyst is convinced that sparring with Boots will help Canelo. Critics say that while Ennis is excellent, his role in a Mexican camp preparing for an African-American opponent has already stirred debate. They argue that style, culture, and mindset matter in boxing, and sparring cannot fully copy Crawford's brain and fight IQ. Some even claim the choice could hurt if Canelo relies too much on the idea that Boots equals Crawford. The criticism shows how tricky fight prep is, reminding everyone that sparring can help but never guarantee success against a fighter as clever and adaptable as Crawford.
But this is a big deal, because not only did he come in and train with Canelo, it looks like some sparring went down, as you can see here, posted by the Ring magazine. Canelo and Boots Ennis standing there together. By the way, Boots Ennis looks bigger than Canelo in this picture. And we all know that Canelo's not a massive 168-pounder, but Boots Ennis at 147 was having trouble making the weight still, is going to 154, just so happens to be the two weight classes that Terence Bud Crawford just came from, 147 to 154. Boots has a fight coming up soon for his debut at 154. You have to think sooner or later he's going to be grabbing a belt, because he's in a title eliminator coming up anyway. But again, it's very interesting because we all know how good Boots Ennis is, and it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, look at this picture, and Boots Ennis is a monster. I can see him going to 160 pounds.